Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Gokul. Good evening, Arbaz. I'm just waiting for people are still joining, I believe. So I'll just give it a minute. Anyways, any questions, any doubts from the last session, yesterday's session? Any questions from yesterday's session? You can ask. This is the last program we discussed yesterday. I'll complete this and we will go on to MCQs today from the basics, so that anybody who has problem understanding the basic will be able to answer future questions. So we were discussing this particular program yesterday. So write a program to find LCM of two numbers using GCD. So most of you must be aware of GCD, the greatest common divisor, or HCF, highest common factor. Both are same. So first we find the GCD of the given two numbers, and then we know this concept of LCM and HCF. That is, LCM is equal to product of the two numbers divided by the HCF or the GCD. So that particular formula we are using here. So first we have to figure out of the two numbers which is the smallest. So that smallest number, starting from that, we start a for loop until one. We go on iterating the for loop and then check if any of the numbers are a factor of that number, including the smallest number. That is how we check for HCF, right? So we do that, and once we find a common number, which is a factor of both the two numbers A and B, that is made as GCD, and then I use the LCM formula to find the GCD of the number. So this is my program. Any questions here? Okay, somebody is asking how did you find the LCM? So, Nick, do you know the concept of LCM and HCF? Where if I have to find the LCM and if the two numbers are given, and if I know the HCF, the product of two numbers divided by the HCF, I'll get the LCM. That is the formula I used. You learn this in probably 8th or 9th standard in school. Right. So I'll just discuss C as a programming language so that you get people who do not have any idea about coding will get a basic idea. So where do we use C programming? Mainly nowadays we use it in embedded systems. Electronic students would know this better. Apart from that, it is also used in coding operating systems, right? So C is a structure-oriented language. So this is how a C program structure would be. Main link. So this is not in the right order. So if somebody can tell me what would be the right order of the structure of the C program. Okay, you want to know the native method of how to find the LCM? Let me just finish this, Nick. I'll tell you the other way to do it, but it'll take more number of for loop iterations, but we can do that. So I'll just tell you how to do that. I'll just write the code immediately, then I'll tell you how to do that. I'm waiting for the structure, guys. Documentation first, okay. Meanwhile, I'm just typing the code for Nick. Okay, multiple answers coming from Archana. So documentation would be first, then the linking process, then the global declaration, and then the main function, and the declaration, that's the local declaration, then the executable part, and then the subprogram. So this would be the structure. So if I take an example here, so the first line is the documentation part, the comment line, then the linking process, then the global declaration, and then the beginning, that is the main program, then the execution part, after the local declaration. So I don't have any subprogram, I don't have any subfunctions. So this is how the structure would look like. Four stages in compiling a C program: pre-processing, compilation, assembly, and linking. In pre-processing, if this is my source code, first it will remove all the comments, and then any macros are there, it will expand those macros. And then it like also expand the included files. For example, if I've used stdio.h, it is using printf there. No, so what actually the printf does, all that gets expanded. Once this is done, the expanded source code is sent to the compiler, which it to the assembly level instruction. So assembly code is generated, and the file internally is saved as hello.s. uh, Once the assembly code is done, ECE students or even CS students would know this. It will be in this assembly level language, something similar to this. Not necessarily that you know this now, but I just wanted to let you know how the process works. Once the assembly code is generated, it goes to the assembler where all the assembly code is converted to ones and zeros. That's the object code or the binary code. Once this binary code is there, the library functions are included, and the linker processes the code, and you get the executable code that gives you the result. Anyways, moving on. Uh, A programming language will have three important things, that is a keyword, a syntax, and special symbols. It is very important for you to know any language, be it a literary language or a programming language. It is very important to know the keyword of that language, set of pre-described or predefined words, syntax, set of rules like grammar, and punctuation, some special symbols that mean something. So if you know all these three things for a language, definitely you will be understanding the language in a better way. Now, what are identifiers? My question. Next question is, what are identifiers? Anyone? Anyone? No? Okay. So identifiers are names or names given to these entities, such as variables, functions, or structures. They can be, they have to be starting with a letter, and then they can have numbers. All the set of rules that you have for variables are actually the rules for identifiers. So they can be keywords, they can be variables. Sorry, they cannot be keywords. They have to be variables, functions, or structure names. It can be any kind of function name. It can be any kind of structures name. It can be any kind of variables. Next, what I wanted to discuss is some MCQs. I'll directly jump into that before anything else. So, what is the output of this program? What is the output of this program? I'm getting 162. Let's see. So ASCII is nothing but American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So every key in your keyboard will have some predefined value number. So it's called the ASCII value. So these are the keys in your keyboard: uppercase characters, lowercase characters, numbers, symbols, everything. So they have a predefined number. For example, uppercase A. Yesterday we did a program similar to this. So uppercase A is 65, lowercase A is 97, uppercase Z is 90, lowercase Z is 122. So even if you know the beginning and the end of the characters, that should be enough. Other values you will automatically be able to generate. So here, what is happening? Character is taken as input. So uppercase A, lowercase a, and then they are added. So when they are added, because RES is integer, their ASCII values are basically added. And I'm printing the integer value. So 65 and 97 are the ASCII values of uppercase and lowercase a. So that's why the output is 162. What about this one? You've got one answer as 97. Let's see if anybody has a different answer. So here, instead of characters, I have numbers. So if you see the ASCII values of numbers, one is 49 and two is 50. So 49 and 50 is added. So the sum is 99. So the output will be 99. Output will be 99. What is the output of this program? It is a different program, so go through it carefully. Very good. I've got some answers which says option answer is C, which is right. Here, when I'm printing a character RES. So 99 when converted to character gives you the relevant ASCII value. So if you see here, C is 99. So that's why 99 gets C gets printed because the value is 99. CH1 plus CH2. So C, C gets printed. What about this one? Waiting for your answers. I'm getting three as an answer. Anybody else? Any other answers? Multiple answers, which says three, which is right. So here numbers are being added. They're not characters. Previously, one and two were in quotes, so it is counted as characters. Here it's basic numbers. So numbers will be added and automatically three. One plus two is three, so we get three. My next question is which of these are valid variables? Which of these are valid variables? So number is true. This is true. 93 is false. 93 cannot be a valid variable name. This is true. I cannot have any special symbols, so first name is not true. This is I have a space, so this is not true. Mid dot name is not true. Numbers alone cannot be variable name. So these are the ones which are not true. I'll not go with the rules, but yeah, I hope you have understood. If you want to understand the rules better, I'll explain it in detail. Next comes what is the output of this? So output is okay. We have options also. I didn't know that. So output is x is -1 and y is -2. So there's no change here. What is the output of this? Right. So output is size of A is 4, size of B is 4. What is the output of this? Right. So output is it will be a compile time error because I cannot have signed float or short float. How about this one? What is the output? So again, it's a compile time error because I cannot have short double. Similarly, here it is again an error because I cannot have signed double. Can I have long double? Yes, I can have long double. Long double is possible. So just take a screenshot of this so that you know each and every different variables that are possible and you have an idea about it. Moving on, what is the output here? The output is max is defined as 100, so 100. What is the output here? Here again, max is defined as 100, so output is 100 again. What about this one? What is the output here? So here the answer is option B, 50, because macros can be defined anywhere, not only outside main function, inside main function also. So this is valid. So updated value of the macro max is 50 gets printed. What will be the output here? Waiting for your answers. So prod e comma b is a into b. So in that case, what happens is most of you would decide 15 is the answer, which is not. So I see a lot of 15 coming, D15, D15, which is not. Try again. I'll give you another 1 or 2 minutes quickly. It is not option D. It is not 15. Okay, so everybody's saying garbage value 10, 50. So what basically is happening here is when I write A into B, so A X and Y value, that is 3 and 4. So 3 is here, 2, so 4 minus 1. Now product of this, so A into B. So it will become 3 into 2 into 3 plus 2 into 4 minus 2. So in the board mass rule, first the multiplication should happen. So 4 into 2 will happen. So that is 8. So 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 minus 1 is 10. So answer is option B, 10. So couple of you got right. So good one. Moving on to the next question. What is the answer here? So again, multiple answer 4. So if your answer is 4, try again. So now I'm getting different answers again. So again, square of 4. So square of 4 is nothing but square 64 divided by 4 into 4. So division comes before multiplication. So 64 divided by 4 is 16. 16 into 4 is again 64. So the answer is option A, 64. We on to the next one. Yeah, error. Some people are saying, okay, I'll just give you another minute. Let's see. So what is happening here? Size of I is equal to size of I here. So the first thing, it is taking the value 65 size, and the other one integer value size. So it will print character I is 65. So character size is 1, so it will print 1 as a size. Moving on, what will be the output here? Right. So I've got multiple answers again. CLR can also be used as a macro. So automatically CLR is 100. So 100 gets printed. I've got a couple of people who said 100. So yeah, some people said error. No, it cannot be error. We can use it as also a macro. Let's move on to the next question. So what happens here is I've defined a macro and I've used hashtags. Two hashtags basically add two variables. So in this case, VAR and 12 are being added. So VAR 12 it becomes, and VAR 12 values 100, so 100 gets printed. Right. With this, I have a programming question. Let me just display that. Give me- So not a programming question. I have questions on. Just a minute, guys. I'm sharing the screen. I have a question that I wanted to discuss today. So, a programming question, a pattern-based program. So, try this. I'll give you about 10 to 15 minutes to try this, so that we can discuss it further in the end of the program, in the end of the session. So, try this. How do you generate this particular pattern? Oh, so I don't see anybody writing the code. I'll just give you another 5 to 10 minutes, guys. Quickly, 7:30, 7:35. We'll discuss this. Quickly do this. Try this. Okay, so I still don't see anybody answering this. Okay, we'll discuss this program in the end of the session. Uh, we'll slowly move on to that particular coding part of that particular session. So let's discuss something called as control statement. Just give me a minute. So control statement happens to be one of the important aspects in terms of coding and also one of the common topics of interview questions in Drive. So in control systems, control statements, we have two types. So branching and looping. So branching decides what action has to be taken place, and looping decides how many times that particular action has to be taking place. So let's in branching we have statements like if statements, if else statements, if else statements, and switch statements. In looping we have for loops, while loops, and do while loops. So talking about the if statement. So if you see the program here, I have a variable called a whose value is 10. Then I have my if statement, which is checking whether the value of a is less than 20. If it is true, then whatever is there in the parenthesis next to if, that gets executed. Else, I don't have any else statement, so nothing will happen. Outside if whatever is there, that gets executed. So in this case, inside if a is less than 20, so it is true. So see the syntax how it is supposed to be done. If condition, and in the brackets you have to mention whatever the condition is. So condition is true. So printing of this particular line, that is a is less than 20, gets done. Also, no matter what, let's say the value of a is 50. So this if condition is false now. So no matter what, this particular statement will anyways get executed. That is value is percentage t a. So a gets printed. A value is 50 in that case. So 50 gets printed. Next comes if-else statements. That is, if the condition what I mentioned is false, then what has to happen? I am mentioning. For example, if I have to check which is the largest number out of the two numbers, it will check is x less than y. So if x is less than y, then it will print x is less than y. Else, by default, we know that x is greater than y, so it will print x is greater than y. So if I take an example of x is 10 and 20, then it will print x is less than y. If I take x is 10 and y is 10, in that case it will automatically print x is greater than y, because this will become false. X is less than y is false because x is equal to y. So anything else apart from that, it will print x is greater than y. Understood? So these kind of questions you might get it in MCQs, where they ask you to find out what the output will be. Though x and y are equal, it will print x is greater than y. So in order to avoid such things, we have something called as else if. So here what I'm doing is, if x is less than y, it will print x is less than y. If x is greater than y, then it will print x is greater than y. Else it will print x is equal to y. Let's see how AND operator will help us figure out largest among the three numbers. This was one of the programs asked in 2018, I believe. Find out the largest among the three numbers in the given input. So if you see here, ABC, so it's scanning all the three values. Then I'm checking if A is greater than B, and if A is greater than C, they'll print A is greatest. Else we'll check if B is greater than C and B is greater than A, they'll print B is the greatest. Else we'll check if C is greater than A and C is greater than B, then we'll print C is the greatest. So if both of them are true, then only the printf statement will get executed. So see those parentheses, how they are used. Any questions here until now? No audio. Are you sure there's no audio? Are you able to hear me? Okay, fine. Let's move on. I don't think so. There's an issue with the audio. I just checked. So next is switch statement. So how switch works is basically you'll have cases here. How switch works basically is you'll have to enter a grade value. In this case, it's a grade, so the grade is B. So we'll have multiple cases. So wherever the reference grade is there, so B, so that gets printed. In this case, B, so well done gets printed. So that's how switch works. Because there is no break here, even the default gets printed. So invalid grade also gets printed. So whenever there is no break in the switch statement, all the cases below that will get executed. Next comes for loop. So how for loop works is basically you'll have three parameters here: initialization, uh, condition, and the implementation part. So how does the implementation part work? So int I is condition. Once a condition is checked, if the condition is true, it will go inside the for loop. And after the whatever execution inside the for loop happens, the implementation is done. So always remember, initialization is done only in the beginning. Then every time only the condition is checked. The implementation happens only after the execution of the for loop. So this is how the uh, pattern of the for loop works. So initialization is executed only once. Condition, if true, enters the loop, else comes out of the loop. And every time after the execution of the loop, it will come. It will increment. Okay, it can be increment, decrement, whatever it is. So in this case, int I is equal to 0, I less than 50, I plus plus. So hello world, so hello will get printed 50 times. If you have while loop, similar to for, only thing is we do not know how many times it will get repeated until the condition is true. We'll keep repeating. So while true, print hello. So since it will never become false, this loop is a never-ending loop. It's called infinite loop. If you have something called as do while, same like while, but the condition is mentioned in the end. So what happens is first no matter what the condition is, the loop gets executed at least once. So that is how the execution happens. Let's see some differences. So in while loop condition is checked first, then the loop body is executed. In do while, loop body will be executed first, then the condition is checked. In while loop, if the condition is false, loop will not be executed. In do while, if the condition is false, loop body will be executed at least once. While loop is called entry controlled, do while is exit controlled. Right? Let's see some programs. Sorry, let's see some MCQs. I'll just open that up. What will be the output here, guys? Sign up, sign in. Waiting for your answers, guys. Okay, so what is basically happening here is int value is 3, then I'm using a switch. So case this is 0 plus 1, this is 1 plus 3. So 0 plus 1 is focus, break. This is 1 plus 2, that is 3. So automatically it will print find because the grade value or the value that I'm passing through switch is 3. So automatically the value is 3 because 1 plus 2 is 3. So find gets and there is break, so default will not get executed. What about this one? What is the output here? Okay, multiple answers I've got here. So common answer is runtime error. No, okay. D, default case is required. So X is one, switch is X. So we do not have one here. So it will be a compile time error because we do not have a default case. What will be the output here? So I've got two answers, runtime error and C. Anybody has any other answers? So basically what is happening here is the first case I is 0, so for loop is there, so it will run only till 20. So it'll go to case 1 because so it'll go to case 0. So I is equal to I plus 5, so I becomes 5, and then there is no break here. As you can see, there's no break here. So we'll go to case 1 also. So 5 plus 2, so 7. 7 plus 4, there's no break in default also. So 7 plus 4, so it becomes 11, then breaks. Anyways, there's no break required because that's the last one. So I gets printed, so 11 gets printed. There's only one option with 11, so 11 anyways. But if I have to explain you the entire working, so after 11 gets printed, it goes back to the for loop. 11 is then incremented, it becomes 12. Comes to switch, now it goes to directly default. So 12 plus 4 is 16, so 16 gets printed. Then 16 is incremented to 17. 17 plus 4, 21. 21 gets printed. Now when it comes back here, this I less than 20 condition becomes false. So it comes out of the for loop and that's it. So 11, 16 and 21 gets printed. So answer is option C, 11, 16 and 21. What about this one? What is the output here? Okay, so I've got multiple answers. So in this, most of you will get confused with this line x is equal to x plus 1, but that never gets executed because inside switch, only case values get executed. So it directly go to case 1 and choice 1 is printed. That is option A. So most of you gave the correct answer. So good one. Moving on to the next one. What is the output here? So I've got multiple answers here. So 1.1 will not get executed because it has compile time error. What is the output here? Okay, so option B, option 3, option 5, 3. Okay, so what is happening here? Print 0 is happening here if print 0. So print is true. So print is a statement that gets executed, so it becomes true. So I value becomes 3. So it will print 3. So the values that get printed are 0 and 3. So that is option B. Because print overall it is true. Though it is printing 0, that will get printed, but it is true. Some action is happening, so it is not false. What is the output here? We have got a couple of answers. Most of them are saying option C. The answer is infinite loop, guys, because there is two decrementation happening. So starting from 3, the first decrement will go to 1 and then it will go to minus 1. So the value of n will never be 0. So as long as it is not 0, the loop will keep continuing. So it's an infinite loop. What will be the output here? Right. So I is equal to 0. Switch I case 0. So print find this thing. So it'll break. So print focus. So finally print technical. So what is the output of the above program? So it'll print technical because 0 is what is being passed. But in case I have 0 as a character and 1 as a character, not as an integer. So that's why the answer is option C, technical. What is the output here? So here, what happens basically is for loop gets terminated because there's a uh, semicolon right after for loop, and the question is how many times the value of for loop will be displayed. So only once, because for loop I value will be displayed only once. For loop will not keep executing. So what is the value that gets printed? 0 gets printed. Sorry, uh, 10 gets printed. Now, what about this? In this case, how many times the value will be printed? 10 times it will be printed. Coming to this, how many times will the below loop be executed? Try this. Okay. RBAK. 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 ये मेरा फेवरेट है. Okay. So option A, everybody is saying 15. Yes, it gets displayed 15 times. The loop will like, get executed 15 times because this will execute 5 times. So every time this gets executed, so this will execute 5 times first, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. So 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 15. So 15 times it gets executed. Option A. How many times the loop will be executed here? Infinite times because there is no condition for the loop. Try this. Okay, so here what is happening is there are two initializations, two conditions, and two incrementations. So I can have multiple initialization, multiple conditions, and multiple what do you say initialization or incrementation or decrementation in my for loop. But the problem is initialization multiple will work, incrementation, decrementation multiple will work. But when it comes to the condition, only the rightmost condition will be checked. So in this case, the rightmost condition is j less than 20. So until that becomes false, the entire for loop will keep running. So in this case, the final value or what will be the value of I and j finally will be j value of j will be 20. So only till then it will work. Now if the last condition was let's say j less than 20 and then I less than 10, then only it will work till I equal to 10 and j equal to 10. It will not move forward. So that is how the for loop works. So answer here is 20 and 20. Moving on, what will be the output here? So they're asking what will be the value of j when the condition becomes false. So only when j becomes 20, the condition will become false. No, when it is 19, it is still true. No, Shubham, understood? Okay. So in this case, what is happening? I is equal to minus 10. So in place of condition, it is minus 10. So when the value becomes minus 10, uh, the condition becomes false. So in that case, we'll start printing values from minus 10. Sorry, when the value becomes 0, the condition becomes false. So from minus 10 to minus 1, it gets printed. So that is option A. It will not print 0. When it is 0, the condition becomes false. So it will terminate. So answer is option A, minus 10 to minus 1. What is the output here? I will just share the attendance for you guys. Just give me a minute. So I'll put it in the pin comments so that you guys can access it. Okay. For the PPTs, I will share it once I'm done with the one of the PPTs. I'll share it with you. You can ping me on WhatsApp. Sorry, you can ping me on my email. I've already shared my email yesterday. I will send it to all of them once I'm done with the PPT. Second, can you explain the syntax of the for loop? The previous program, I believe. This one. So how this works is very simple. So initially value of minus 10. So there's no initialization, so no initialization happens. Condition is 10, so it is minus 10. So printf percentage d I plus plus. So minus 10 gets printed and then the incrementation happens. Now the value of I becomes minus 9. So minus 9 gets printed, then I gets incremented, it prints minus 8, then it gets incremented, it becomes minus 7. Similarly it comes to minus 1. So minus 1 is still true, so minus 1 gets incremented, it becomes 0. Now when the condition is checked, it is 0. So since the condition is 0, it terminates. So value from minus 10 till minus 1 gets printed. Is that clear? Yeah, I'm dropping my mail ID also, abhy. Yeah, I've dropped my email ID. Right. Uh, yeah. So moving on to the next question. Yeah, this is what I was asking you guys. A is equal to 11, B is equal to 5. So if A is equal to 5, B is equal to 6. So here, is it checking whether A is equal to 5? No. In order to check whether A is equal to 5, it should be A equal to 5. Correct? Double equal to has to be there. But they're single. So it is assigning. So 5 is assigned to A. But since 5 is true, so the condition is true. So B is also becoming 6. Now when I'm printing A and B, so A value will be 5, B value will be 6. So that's why option C, uh, 5, 6 gets printed. Clear? Moving on. All with output here. Okay. So A is 11, B is 5. If A equal to 0, so now value of A is becomes 0. So if 0, that is false. So B will never be 6. So A will become 0 because A is assigned with 0. B will always remain 5. So the answer is option C, 0, comma 0 and 5. Moving on, I'll do one last question and then we'll wind up for the day. What will the output here? Int value is 0. If value, then print well done, else it will print excellent. So in that case, it should print excellent because value is 0. So well done will never get printed. So that is option C, excellent. With that, let's wind up for today. If you have any queries, please post it on the chat. I've already sent the attendance link. It is on the pinned comment. I've also sent my email ID, which is on the chat. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Thank you. Any comments, any queries, you can post it on the chat. I am there for another 4 minutes. Can you explain the 39th again? Yes, I will. Shubham, the pattern program is for you to solve it today, and we will discuss it in the tomorrow's session. And 39th program, this is 42. So 39, 39. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, what is the doubt here? So initially the value of I is minus 10. So there's no initialization. So no initialization. This is a condition. The incrementation is instead of incrementation, I have a printf which is doing the increment for me. So condition will become false when I value becomes 0 because 0 is false always. Right. Anything apart from 0, it is true. So initially I value is minus 10. So 10 gets printed. After that, it is post increment. So minus 10 gets printed. So minus 10 gets printed, then minus 9, then minus 8, then minus 7, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2. Then when it comes to minus 1 is still true. So come here, minus 1 gets incremented to 0. So when I becomes 0, it is false, right? So nothing gets printed because it comes out of the for loop. So that is why only values from minus 10 to minus 1 gets printed. Do you still have doubt? Right. So thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Yeah. Bye. Guys, I already told you pattern program. We'll discuss it tomorrow. That is the agenda for tomorrow. We'll discuss some pattern programs. And yes, once I'm done with my PPT, I'll share it with you. You can ping me on my email. I've already sent you my mail ID on the chat. Thank you so much.